All right, so we give praise, esteem, and honor to Abba and Shamayim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach this day. We're going to pick this up in John chapter 5, verse 39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And you might come to me that you might have life. Receive not honor from men, but I know you that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come by Abba's name, and you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him he will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and not the honor that come from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you to Abba. There is one that accuses you, even Moses, in whom you trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? All esteem and praise to Abba and Shamayim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach this day. 1 John chapter 5, verse 1. Whosoever believe that Yahushua is the Hamashiach is born of Elohim, everyone that love him that begot love him, and also that is begotten of him. By this we know that we love the sons of Elohim when we love Elohim and keep his commandments. For this is the love of Elohim, that we keep his commandments. His commandments are not grievous. For whatsoever is born of Elohim overcome the world, and this is the victory that overcome the world, our faith. Who is he that overcome the world? But he that believed that Yahushua is the son of Elohim. This is he that came by water and blood, Yahushua HaMashiach, not by water only, but by water and blood. It is the Ruach that bear witness, because the Ruach is true. There are three that bear record in Shamayim, the Abba, the Word, and the Ruach HaKadosh, and these three are one. There are three that bear witness in their rats, the Ruach, the water, and the blood, and these three agree in one. If we receive the witness of the men, the witness of Elohim is greater, for this is the witness of Elohim, which he has testified of his son. Peace, brother Omar. He that believe on the son of Elohim have the witness in himself. He that believe not Elohim have made him a liar, because he believed not the record that Elohim gave of his son. This is the record that Elohim given to us, eternal life, and this life is in his son. He that have the son have life. He that have not the son of Elohim have not life. These things have I written unto you, that you believe on the name of the son of Elohim, and you may know that you have eternal life, and that you may believe on the name of the son of Elohim. This is the confidence that we have in him. If we ask anything according to his will, he hear us. And if we know that he hear us, whatsoever we ask, we know that we have the petitions that we desired of him. If any man see his brother sin a sin, which is not unto death, he shall ask, and he shall give him life. For them that sin, not sin unto death. There is a sin not unto death. Shalom, Amos Room. I do not say that he shall pray for it. All unrighteousness is sin, and there's a sin not unto death. We know that whosoever is born of Elohim sin not. But he that is begotten of Elohim keep himself, and that wicked one touch him not. And we know that we are of Elohim. Shalom, Mom Steph. And we know that we are of Elohim, and the whole world lied in wickedness. What's happening with your Tavon? And we know that the son of Elohim has come and given us an understanding, that we may know him that is true, that we are in him that is true, in his son, Yahushua HaMashiach. This is the true Elohim in eternal life. Little children, keep yourselves from idols. So, I know we started talking about that true Elohim part. There's some more that came to my mind about an hour or so ago that we need to add on to it, get some understanding with that. You know what I'm talking about? So, with that being said, I want you to come to Exodus 23 and 13. Because I mentioned this the other day, and we look at it. Dave, what's happening, man? Exodus 23 and 13. We this is a verse that we done looked at in the Shalom, Jay, Shalom 10K, that we done looked at in the past. A lot of people use it inappropriately, not understanding what it means. I think we ended sadly talking about the destruction of Pharaoh being that God, or him being the God of gods as it pertains to Egypt because of his representation of Ra. You know what I'm talking about? But nevertheless, And in all that I have you unto you, I said unto you, be circumspect and make no mention of the name of other gods, neither let it be heard out of your mouth. So what does this mean? Because clearly, if we mentioning these gods and we looking at them, you're making mention of other gods. See, someone would tell you that you would be breaking the law in this instance. But what does this mean? Because as we talk about on numerous occasions, at the end of the day, the greatest sin that most people are going to commit is idolatry. You know what I'm saying? It's the biggest deal. It's the biggest problem. You know what I'm talking about? And that's just what it is. It's the thing that you're warned about the most because it's the easiest thing to fall into. Now, there was a conversation on here, I think last night, they were arguing about the definition of titans and the things of that nature and where that come from and Greek mythology and everything that pertains unto that. But at the end of the day, you're dealing with the aspect of a mythos of a group of people's gods. But there was a statement that was made that we've already discussed since we've been talking about this, is that these gods are just made of stories of men. And then over time, these men have been deified. And then it just gets purported on. And of course, as time goes by, you're going to think that this is a actual deity when this is just a man's story that has been enhanced. A lot of people believe that with Yahusha, and that's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, you can't be mad at these people because they don't believe. What that mean to you? You know what I'm saying? It's Paul done put it. Hey, what did you do to him? Am I talking to you? I'm not talking to you. I know you didn't do it. I know who did it. I ain't even got to see it, and I know who did it. Let's say similar to that woman who been in a way. But we finna look at what that means in a second, right? You know, a lot of people believe that with the word, you know, it's a lot of big press going on. I think they're supposed to be putting the Bibles back in schools. People excited about that. I don't know why. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what you're excited about that for. Just because the Bible is present doesn't mean the individual handling it ought to be expressing it. And again, that's individuals taking the way of Yahuwah and using it in a fashion contrary to what he did. Because do you think in the time of Mashiach, if there was a school system, you think they would have been clamoring and pushing for Bibles to be in Roman institutions? No, they wouldn't have. They wouldn't even cared. They wouldn't even care. But you think, oh, if they can hear, what good is it to hear some word if you don't hear it with understanding? It's pointless. That man said, if you don't have understanding, you're worthy of death. So just having the word read somewhere or being dealt with is irrelevant if there's no understanding being imparted. Then on the top of the fact that people mistakenly believe that the United States is a Christian nation is all but your fault. That's your fault. Because truly, if that was the case, then the fundamentals of what the words stand for, they would have never came with freedom of religion. Don't you understand that that's showing you straight to your face that that they were opening the way for idolatry? The scriptures do not allow for freedom of religion for the adherents to the word. Understand that. I'm talking about for those who adhere to it. It doesn't allow for that. You can't be a servant of God and worship who you want to worship. But nobody pays attention to that. Oh, no, we don't want any Bitcoin, sir. We don't want any Bitcoin. You know what I'm saying? You might want to go do something else with that. So when you look at make mention, that is that Hebrew word zakar. And if those of you who remember what zakar means, it means to remember, to call to mind, to be brought to remembrance, to be thought of, to be brought to mind, to cause to be remembered, also to make mention or to record or to make a memorial, to make a remembrance. Also, it can be in certain instances to be burning and the making of incense, but to be remembered. So when you're not making mention of other gods, what is the point that you're supposed to not be doing? They should not be coming to mind, because if they come to mind, guess what's going to come out of your mouth? I guess you know. And what is being circumspect? That's shamar, and that means to guard. So guess what that takes us to? Proverbs 4:23. Four and 23. Proverbs. Keep your heart. Matter of fact, back it up to 20. My son, attend to my words, incline your ear unto my saying. Shalom, brother. Let them not depart from your eyes. Keep them in the midst of your heart, for they are life unto those that find them, and health to all their flesh. Keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. Now he's telling you, you need to keep guard. Shalom, you need to keep guard. That you make sure that you don't remember any of these gods, because if you remember God, you're going to do what? You're going to do this right here. Come over here to Deuteronomy 13. Hey, sit your black behind down. Deuteronomy 13 and 1. If there arise among you a prophet or dreamer of dreams and give you a sign of wonder. Matter of fact, let's write it down. We don't need all that. Verse 6. If your brother, the son of your mother, or your son or your daughter, the wife of your bosom, or your friend, which is as your own soul, entice you secretly, saying, let us go serve other gods, which you have not known, you nor your fathers, of the gods of the people which round about you, near unto you, far off from you, even on one to the end of the earth, even unto the other end of the earth. You shall not consent unto him, nor hearken unto him. Neither shall your eye pity him, neither shall you spare, neither shall you conceal him, but you shall surely kill him, and your hand shall be first upon him to put him to death, and afterwards the hands of all the people. Shalom, Marcus. And you shall stone him with stones that he die, because he has sought to thrust you away from Yahuwah your Elohim, which brought you out of the land of Mizraim, from the house of bondage. Shalom, brother Joseph, man. And all Yasharal shall hear and fear, and shall do no more any such wickedness as this among you. Now, clearly you can see that this is a major deal. If they're guarding or remembering the name of another God, then they're going to remember the character of that God, and they're going to make mention to you of that God, which is to draw you away. Now, I have one particular point that I want to make. I can't remember. Let me do this plague right quick. Joanne, sit down and be quiet. I don't want to hear no uh-huh. All right, just wait for it. Let's come over here to Exodus 9 and 8. We'll look at two gods right here. When the boils and bombs were released, and then the hail and the fire. I can't find my thing right now, man. It's amazing. There we go. This is Exodus 9 and 8 that we at. And this particular god that is being attacked is Isis, the Egyptian goddess of medicine and peace. And we'll read about Isis. Most of y'all are familiar with Isis. So there's that. And Yahuwah said unto Moses and Aaron, take you handfuls of ashes of the furnace, and let Moses sprinkle it toward Shamahim in the sight of Pharaoh. And it shall become small dust in the land of Egypt, in all the land of Egypt, and shall be boiled, breaking forth with blains upon man, upon beast, through all the lands of Egypt. Pause just for a reference for those of you who may not know. Come over here to Revelation 9. A lot of the plagues that's in Exodus are the majority of the plagues that are in Revelation. Now, I'm going to ask y'all this question. Why do you think that the plagues in Revelation are exactly similar to the plagues that you've seen in Egypt? Why do you believe that is the case? Why do y'all believe that's the case? Because you're going to see the locust, this darkness that's going to go down, the sea going to get turned to blood, all that type of stuff. Why do y'all believe that's the case? Shalom, Brother Mama, man. I think it's Revelation 16 that I need and not 9. My bad. I don't think I called out what I wanted, but either way. Yeah, Revelation 16 and 1. But why do y'all think that's the case before we read that? You talking to me, boo? You talking to the church? Huh? All right. Indeed, good sir. Indeed. One of the reasons why you see that those plagues are similar in Revelation and the Exodus is to let you know that you're dealing with the same God who did that to the Egyptians. That's how you know that he is Yahuwah. And get the lights up on YouTube, by the way. This is how he operates. He's not going to do nothing different. Revelation chapter 16 and verse 1. And I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the seven Malachim, go your ways and pour out the vials of wrath of Elohim upon the earth. And the first went out and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast and them which worshipped his image. Notice the key component that worshipped is what? His image. Not just taking the mark, but worship his image. Remember, taking the mark, you enter into the covenant with the beast. That is what you're doing. It's not all this stuff. That's not to say that they won't have RFID chips or anything of the sort, but that's not what the mark of the beast is in this book. It sounds good in a movie. It sounds good when you tell it. You understand? But that's not what it is in this book. You're making a covenant with this man. And most of y'all should know this because Daniel 11 say that he will make intelligence with those who forsake the covenant of Yahuwah. And they'll enter into covenant with him. Intelligence means to teach. He's going to teach these people. Everyone who is wickedly forsake the covenant of Yahuwah, he going to teach them. This is why he has understanding of dark sentences. Now, we haven't had, what's happening with your Talmud, man? Now, we haven't talked about this in a long time, but you know, the beast play, there's several different people in the text who are representative of the beast on the back end. Joanne, be quiet. Don't close your mouth. What's happening, Zoe? You know, Absalom, with him trying to steal away the hearts of the people, the beast is going to do the same thing. Pharaoh is representative of him because remember in Exodus 9, he said, I raised you up for this particular power to make my power known in you. That's going to be the same thing that happens with the beast. No different. There's people in there that are representative of that behavior. Why? So that you can be aware and not fall for that behavior. Like, let me show you something real quick, man. Since I mentioned Absalom, come over here to Samuel. Thinking I can't remember what chapter it is. Because this is at the front of my mind. Oh, Lord have mercy. This dude on what's the name on Threads got mad because he said that they talking about why do women don't want to marry pastors. And I'm like, well, sir, an unmarried man as a pastor is an oxymoron. And he come back, that's only for multiple wives. Come on, cuz. That's not to say that you have to be married to work in the ministry of Yahuwah, but you can't be no pastor and you ain't got no wife. That don't even make sense. Joanne, sit down and be quiet. Well, don't worry about it. You talking about no? I'm gonna see if you say no when I go upside your head. Because I'm about tired of your stuff. I'm trying to find the verse I want. Give me a second. Yeah. Hold on. Yeah, we're going to get to that, but we're going to be getting to that for a different reason with Surrender Trap. Yeah, we're going to get to that for a different reason. All right, come on. 2 Samuel chapter 15. Let me pick it up at verse 1. You hold Revelation 16 for a moment. Exodus 9. Joanne, be quiet. I don't care. Mm-hmm. Shalom, Eric, man. 2 Samuel 15 and 1. And it came to pass after this that Absalom prepared him chariots and horses, 50 men to run before him. Absalom rose up early and stood beside the way of the gate, and it was so. And when any man had controversy, came to the king for judgment. Then Absalom called unto him and said, of what city are you? And he said unto them, your servant is one of the tribes of Yasharal. And Absalom said unto him, see, your matters are good and right, but there is no man of the king to hear you. See, this is a game that the beast is going to play, because he's going to tell you there's no man of God to deal with the issues that you're going to have at this time. So you have to pay attention to these small pieces of nuance, because people going to kick this game like this, and people going to fall for it. We wonder why a lot of people get caught up in ministries that run game and exploit the people and oppress the people and things of this nature. Well, number one is because people New Jack swing on men's nuts. Number two is because people get caught up in cult of personality. Number three, a lot of men and women, for that matter, have daddy issues, and you're looking for this preacher to be your daddy, and he's going to exploit you in that particular regard. Number four is a lot of people worship men, and you put people on pedestal because you rather worship man than worship God. And then number five, and maybe the most important one of them all, you don't pay attention in the text of men who did certain things that were not righteous before the throne of God. So when you read in Romans 15, when he tell you the things are written aforetime are written for our learning, and you see people doing certain things, all of it's written for your learning. You can't be so lame to the game and green as a doggone pool table, and you don't pay attention to what's going on. You have to pay attention to human behavior. You have to pay attention to it. You just can't be, when this man told you, take heed that no man deceive you, I've told you before. That means he telling you, man, I done gave you the game. You ain't supposed to be out here lame like that. Ain't nobody supposed to be ducking you like this. You know what I'm saying? This ain't even supposed, I ain't even talking about no teachings, man. I'm talking about behavior. Like literal behavior. How these people kicking their game. There's no way in the world in 2024 grown men giving a preacher their whole paycheck and feel good about it. There's no way in 2024 these preachers should still be smashing dudes, old ladies, and multiple women in congregations, and people come up with justifications for it. When you can read Eli's son smashing women at the tabernacle door, so you know that the priests, ministers, preachers, teachers, whatever you want to call them, knocking women down at the church is not a new thing. So you're supposed to know that and pay attention. And when you see this certain behavior, okay, yeah, I'm out of here. I ain't fooling with that. Not sit there and make a justification for it. So then I mentioned that you got to be able to pay attention that when somebody going to try to size up and say, yeah, ain't nobody to judge these matters, I'll do it. But you got to pay attention. What is his intent on doing this? Is it to judge righteously? Or is it to do what Absalom is doing here? Verse 4, 2 Samuel 15. Absalom said, moreover, oh, that I were made judge in the land, that every man who had any suit or cause might come unto me, and I would do him justice. And it was so that when any man came near to do him obeisance, he put forth his hand and took him and kissed him. And on this matter did Absalom to all Yasharal that came to the king for judgment. So Absalom stole the hearts of the men of Yasharal. Don't think that the beast ain't gonna come through and do the same thing to try to steal the hearts of the people by saying, but he gonna make it look like he doing a righteous thing. This man had an ulterior motive. He was trying to usurp the authority and throne of his own father. That's what he was trying to do. Nobody stepped and paused and said, man, where David at? Or where the people David set up for this? Where they at? Nobody asked that question. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because this man was adept at manipulating the people as appearing a particular type of way to entice you in. Because that's what a lot of these people out, they're trying to steal your heart, man. Once they got that, you going with them. Takes us back to why he say don't make no mention of no other gods, don't bring it to remembrance, don't call them to mind, but guard your heart. So you have to pay attention that, man, your faith and hope is supposed to be in Elohim, as the Lord said in John 7, as it say in Psalm 78, it says Peter mentioned in 1 Peter chapter 1, people supposed to be pointing you back to him. We don't even be paying attention that people be pointing you back to them. And now you done made this man your God, and you're going to go to hell with him. You understand? Come on back to Revelation 16:1. No, don't sit there and entertain him. Don't go back and forth with him. Just remove yourself. She wants you to go back and forth with him. Indeed, Omar, indeed. 16:1, one more time. Indeed, to an extent. You know what I'm saying? I say with Solomon, that was more an intent, man. When you get old, your defenses, you less inclined to go against stuff that you may not have went against when you had a little bit more vitality. Now, most of us haven't gotten that old yet. You know what I'm saying? So you'll be more inclined to people please and satisfy somebody because you don't really have the energy to fight against it. You know what I'm saying? It's just what happens, man, when you get to a certain age, man. You don't have the same vitality and strength to be like, nah, we ain't doing that in here. All right, baby, go on here. All right, baby, go on here. This is going to make you happy, so you'll leave me alone. Go on ahead and do it. You know what I'm saying? And of course, it mentions that Solomon was very old at that time when he began to do this. So, you know what I'm saying? But it just happens, man. You know, most people as they age, they don't retain their natural vitality. Like I said, like with Moses when he hit 120. You know what I'm saying? Like your resistance for stuff is low. For the most part, not everybody. You know what I'm saying? You have two different types of things when you get older. You become more passive, meaning stuff that you might have fought against, you just don't have the energy to do it. Or you are extremely aggressive, that I'm not with any of your folly, and don't bring that over here, and I will cuss you out. You know what I'm saying? Those are the extremes. Most people are somewhere in the middle. 16:1, Revelation. And I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the seven Malachim, go your ways and pour out the vials of wrath of Elohim upon the earth. And first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome, grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast and which worshipped his image. So let's come back to Exodus 9. We'll read that, and then we'll read a little bit about Isis, and then we'll move on to the next thing. I know most of y'all know who she is, but this is just to put a record on here because we still got to talk about Marduk, and we still got to finish the document we started, along with a few others. That's why I said just on this one here, and it's already been provided to you, every idol that is mentioned in the text. You know, we could spend a couple months talking about this here, man. We could spend a couple months. Because we ain't even dealing with the aspect. We talk about it, but the direct focus and aspect of having idols in your heart that ain't even got necessarily anything to do with idols made with hands, that's a whole nother conversation. Because that's what most people are falling victim to. You have a multitude of idols in your heart. You know what I'm saying? And most people have idols in their heart and feel like they justify before God by holding these idols in their heart. You know what I'm saying? You could case in point, just because this is easy to see. Most brothers who believe that we Israelites, that's an idol in their heart, because they began to worship that at the footstool of their inward man versus worshiping at the footstool of the Almighty. They don't realize that they're doing that because hey, I mentioned of certain scriptures and I'm talking about keeping these laws, but you really don't trust in the Almighty like that. As we talked about with your forefathers in the wilderness, their issues weren't about keeping the instructions. Their issues that they didn't believe in Yahuwah. They watched this man work all these plagues on the Egyptians and still didn't believe that he was able to do anything for them, even though he had showed them otherwise. Even spoke down and cursed the very land that he promised them. You know what I'm saying? These are things that people read it and you ignore. And like, it's not like that's a hidden piece of behavior. That's literally what these people did. They didn't have it. You don't read him talking about he chastising these people because they wanted to eat pork ribs or they wanted to worship on Sunday. These people literally made a calf and called it Yahuwah and worshiped it. They literally made an idol and put his name on it. Say, we don't know what happened to Moses. He taking too long. And it's, of course, the same thing that you see with Mashiach. Oh, he done went back up here, up in the heaven like Moses did. We don't know what he doing. He taking too long. That's why the man say, unless you begin to eat and drink and beat the men. Why you think he say that? Because that's what your forefathers did. They rose up to eat and drink and to play. Oh, he taking too long. We finna go play. What you think going on? You got a whole bunch of people, man, at the end of the day, you got everybody upset by, oh, these women want to get abortions. Man, what you think women who are promiscuous or sexually irresponsible are going to want to do? What do you think men who are promiscuous or sexually irresponsible are going to pressure a woman who he's inseminated to do? What do you expect these people to do? Like, come on, man. Shalom, brother. So if these people don't fear God, you think they're going to fear him over here by this? No, they're not. They don't care. You have to understand that, man. A sinner don't have nothing to restrain their behavior. Are there certain things that they won't participate in? Sure it is. But then there's some things that they don't have any concern to do. Yeah, I want the ability to do that. See, a brother told somebody this yesterday, and he was dead right. Like, peace, brother Ernest. There's no such thing as free will. When you look at free will by definition, let's look at free will by definition. Because, of course, you don't see the term free will in the word anyway. This is the power of acting without the constraint or necessity of fate. It is also the ability to act at one's own discretion. And then another definition, what he mentioned last night, was to do something without consequence. And we know that everything that you do, there is a consequence. Now, whether that consequence be positive or negative is determined of the choice that you make. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about? So, of course, you could look at free will as forfeits. This is voluntary. This is something that you're choosing to do. Indeed, 10K, a man's goings are Yahuwah. And you can look at that if you so choose. But notice it said the acting without the constraint or necessity of fate. So then you have to look at, well, what is fate? What does that mean? Because, you know, some people say, this is fate. What does that mean? The development of events beyond a person's control, regarded as determined by a supernatural power. Now, 10K just mentioned something that's in Proverbs 16. Let's take a look at it. And maybe this will help you out when you and you can consider that, and you can take and do with it what you will. You know, look, delve in it deeper for your own mind to make sure you fully understand what we're going to look at. Is this page in this book? It is 16:1, the book of Proverbs. The preparations of the heart and man, and the answer of the tongue is from Yahuwah. What is the preparations of heart and a man? And we've talked about these passages before. Well, when you look at what your preparations are, this is your maharak. This is your arrangement, your plan, your preparation, your mental disposition. You do know that it said that he hardened Pharaoh's heart. Now, let's not get it twisted. Did he harden Pharaoh's heart to what it is that he wanted to do anyway? Yes. But nevertheless, that thought process for Pharaoh, that came from Yahuwah. That wasn't free will. He didn't come up with that without any. Let's look at it. Let's just look at it. You can see it for yourself. Now we can read with that Romans 9. Well, who has resisted his will? That's why he said, nay, oh man, who are you to reply against Elohim? Does not the potter have power over the clay to make one vessel under honor and one vessel under dishonor? Now see, the difference is, come over here to Deuteronomy 6. I would say Deuteronomy. I'm sorry. Exodus chapter 6. The difference is that Yahuwah generally gives people over to the mind and heart that they wanted anyway, which is very, very uncomfortable for a lot of people. A lot of people don't want to deal with that. He's giving you what you wanted anyway. You see all these pillow biters and carpet munchers out here. Well, that's what they wanted to do. That's what he means when he said, "I give you over to a reprobate mind. Since you've rejected me, I'll reject you, and you can go ahead and do what it is that you wanted to do anyway." Because that's what you want to do. So who am I to stop you? See, that's not free will. Because there's an intercession, if you would. Notice it said of a supernatural power. So to say that you have free will is to say there is no God. Now, if that's your conclusion, then by all means, hold fast to that conclusion. I'm not mad at you. You know what I'm talking about? What we have in this instance with the word, of course, and we done talked about it plenty of times, is more so focusing on, I've set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore, choose life. You know what I'm saying? That's what he told you. Make a selection. Which one you gonna choose? That's not about free will. You can do what you want to do. That's a given, but you're making a choice. See, it popped up twice within the last week. That conversation we had about Adam and Eve. Somebody talking about how there was two different creation stories, and another brother saying, why didn't Adam come in and defend his wife from Satan? How can a man defend his wife from the devil? Because all the devil did was tempt her with a suggestion. He told me he supposed to came in there and told her to stop it. I got it, my G, for sure. You know what I'm saying? And you had to look at that, man, like people doing what they want to do. So you think if he would have told Satan, go away today, he wasn't going to come back tomorrow? You know what I'm saying? It's like people missing the whole point. Man, you can't protect your wife from obedience and disobedience to the word. Man, that's insane. Like, I don't understand why people overlook the fact that woman had the word. That was her protection, was the word. Do you not understand that? Your protection is the word. If you don't allow that to protect you, then, hey, man, ain't nothing I can do for you. Ain't nothing I can do for you. But you know why a lot of dudes like that? Because they like to put on that cape and say, I'm a savior. Boy, if Yahuwah can't save them, I don't know why you think you can. Like, that's crazy. Like you said, doing a woman's a disservice for you. Absolutely do. You come on, man. Look here, man. One thing you have to realize, son, man. My homegirl just told me, because she had shared on her story, man. She got a dude that be coming to the house, be working on her house. And she be like, people always say, I need to get with him. She be like, that man don't like me like that. She said, I'd rather have him come over here than to be in my house with my finger on the trigger with some of these people I behind. Because this nigga say niggas will literally try to holler at her. She say no, and they'll double back and come back to her house and try to get at her. You know what I'm saying? And then she have to up her pistol on them because she ex-military. You know what I'm saying? And my thing is, I'm like, damn, because I know you can handle your own, but she used to run with our crew when we were young. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, niggas still ride for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, we'll get somebody out of here behind you because when we were doing what we were doing, you was riding with us. Like, that don't change because we get older. That love stay the same. But it's the fact, I know you can handle yourself, but that's not the point. And you have to understand something, man. Most women can handle themselves. That's why I mentioned that. I know that woman trained how to use a sidearm, man. She know how to shoot a nigga and get you out of here. Like she can handle her own. To say that is to say that a woman cannot make sound decisions of her own. She can. She can. You know what I'm talking about? And she has to make them for herself. You can't make them for her. You can't do that. That's crazy. Let me find the verse I want in Exodus chapter 6. Let me make sure I got what I want. Come over here to Exodus 6:10. Hey, you need to obey. Now sit down and be quiet. What is your problem? You always want to do what you want to do. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Go and speak unto Pharaoh, king of Egypt, that he let the children of Yasharal go out of his land. And Moses spake before Yahuwah and said, Behold, the children of Israel have not hearkened unto me. How then shall Pharaoh hear me, who of uncircumcised lips? Yahuwah spake unto Moses and Aaron, say, gave them a charge unto the children of Yasharal and to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to bring the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. That's not necessarily the verse that I wanted. Here it is, chapter 7. And Yahuwah said unto Moses, See, I have made you a god to Pharaoh, and Aaron your brother shall be your prophet. And you shall speak all that I command you, and Aaron your brother shall speak unto Pharaoh, that he send the children of Yasharal out of his land. And I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and multiply my signs and my wonders in the land of Egypt. But Pharaoh shall not hearken unto you, that I might lay my hand upon Egypt and bring forth my armies and my people, the sons of Yasharal, out of the land of Mizraim by great judgments. And the Egyptians shall know that I, Yahuwah, when I stretch forth my hand upon Mizraim and bring the sons of Yasharal from among them. That wasn't no free will for him. That man, Yahuwah, had to made that decision for him. Now, is that decision along with what Pharaoh wanted to do anyway? The likelihood is high. But nevertheless, he said, I'm going to harden his heart. That is not free will. You understand? Let me look at this definition of the dog. Let's see this word here. We're looking at compatibilism. And that is a philosophical view that free will and determinism are compatible, and that people can believe in both without being logically inconsistent. It is also known as soft determinism. Compatibilism offers a solution to the free will problem, which is the dispute over whether free will and determinism are compatible. Compatibilists believe that people are free to act as they choose as long as they are not externally constrained. For example, if you want to go to a bar, you exercise free will if you make it there without any obstacles. However, if a flood prevents you from going, you didn't exercise free will. Compatibilism has ancient history, and many philosophers have supported it, including Aristotle. In the modern era, Hobbes and Hume developed classical compatibilism, which was reinvigorated in the early 20th century. Let's see if we got some more information. That is, and we mentioned that part. Stephen Weinberg puts it, I would say that free will is nothing but our conscious experience of deciding what to do, which I know I'm experiencing as I write this review. This experience is not invalidated by the reflection that physical laws made it inevitable that I would want to make these decisions. The opposing belief that the thesis of determinism is logically incompatible with the classic thesis of free will is known as incompatibilism. Compatibilists believe that freedom can be present or absent in situations for reasons that have nothing to do with metaphysics. In other words, that casual determinism does not exclude the truth of possible future outcomes. Because free will is seen as a necessary prerequisite for moral responsibility, compatibilism is often used to support compatibility between moral responsibility and determinism. Similarly, political liberty is a non-metaphysical concept. Statements of political liberty, such as the United States Bill of Rights, assume moral liberty, the ability to choose to do otherwise than that what one does. Compatibilists often define an instance of free will as one in which the agent had the freedom to act according to their own motivation. That is, the agent was not coerced or restrained. Arthur Schopenhauer famously said, man can do what he wills, but he cannot will what he wills. In other words, although an agent may be often be free to act according to a motive, the nature of that motive is determined. The definition of free will does not rely on the truth of falsity or casual determinism. This view also makes free will close to autonomy, the ability to live according to one's own rules. And hold on, he got something else on here. Now he's got here, man sent me this here. Compatibilism within Yahwism generally refers to the theological concept that human free will can coexist with divine sovereignty, a concept more broadly known in philosophy and theology as compatibilism. In Yahwism, this would mean the reconciling the idea that humans have the freedom to make choices with the belief that Yahweh, as the supreme God, has complete foreknowledge and sovereignty over all events. The question of compatibilism is particularly relevant within Yahwehism due to the covenantal relationship between Yahweh and Israel as depicted in the Hebrew scriptures. The Torah, prophets' writings, and often illustrate a dynamic relationship where Yahweh guides, warns, and even disciplines, but also allows for human agency and accountability. This is evident in narratives where individuals such as Moses or Jonah or the prophets exercise their will, yet are shown as being a part of a broader divine plan that Yahweh foresees and sometimes predetermines. Now, you know, some people have a very, very strong issue with preordination, but that's nevertheless. You're struggling with something in your first, the same as doing which, I mean, not necessarily. I mean, you struggle with certain things because that just might be weakness of the flesh, no more than that. And you have to strengthen yourself in that regard. That's about as clean as I can, simplest as I can put that. Proverbs 16:2. All the ways of man clean in his own eyes, but Yahuwah way the ruach. Commit your works unto Yahuwah, and your thoughts shall be established. And when you look at what your thoughts is, y'all know what that means. But if you don't remember, of course, that is the word makhashabah, which is your devices, your plans, and your purposes. You know what I'm saying? The things that you plot out and plan in your mind. If you commit yourself unto Yahuwah, he will allow that and establish, of course, is kun. That is to be established. But you have to be willing to commit yourself. That word for commit is galal. That's to roll away, roll down, roll together, roll oneself. Seek occasion, trust. When you cause your works, which of course is your labor, your masa'ah, your deeds, when you allow your deeds to be committed to Yahuwah, then he will allow your plots, plans, and devices to be established. You know what I'm talking about? What's happening with your Yedadiah, man? And that's what a lot of people don't do. So when you see the Lord tell you, hey, man, seek the kingdom of heaven and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you, this is what this is referring to. See, come over here to Deuteronomy 30 real quick, like, and 17. Make it 15. See, I have set before you this day life and good, death and evil, and that I command you this day to love Yahuwah your Elohim, to walk in his ways, to keep his commandments and his statutes and his judgments, that you may live and multiply, and Yahuwah your Elohim shall baruch you in the land where you go to possess it. But if your heart turn away, so that you will not hear, but you shall be drawn away and worship other gods and serve them, I denounce you this day that you shall surely perish. You shall not prolong days upon the land whither you pass over Jordan to go possess it. I call heaven and earth to record this day against you. I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, that both you and your seed may live. And when we turn around and we look at choose, And that's simply the word which you know that's used when you're dealing with election, which is bakar, to choose, to elect, to decide for, to be chosen, to be selected. Bat, Kat, and Raj. Now, you can allow yourself to be separated unto the house of the chief by choosing him, or you could not choose him and be separated from the house of the chief and go to hell. Peace to each man. And that's just as simple as that works. So it's up to you to choose. The choice is yours. Now, what choice you gonna make is gonna be determined by what it is that you actually desire. Because a lot of people desire evil things. Hold on, Russell. Say in this framework, Yahwistic compatibilism would assert that human beings are moral agents responsible for their actions with choices that hold real significance, including consequences. Yahweh, however, remains ultimately sovereign with a plan that incorporates human choices, sometimes in a mysterious or complex ways. This viewpoint is illustrated in passages where Yahweh's purpose are achieved through human actions, even when those actions are contrary to divine instructions. Pharaoh's hardened heart in the Exodus narrative. The idea here is not that human freedom is illusory, but rather that Yahweh's sovereignty is so complete that it encompasses and makes uses of even free humans' actions. Thus, compatibilism within Yahwehism navigates the tension between the will and divine control by suggesting that Yahweh's knowledge and purpose coexist with human freedom without undermining it, emphasizing a relational and covenantal dynamic between humanity and the divine. Now, as we go further, we're going to look at this particular aspect. We're going to see it in Proverbs. You can see it in the Psalms. You can see it in Amos. That you can see it in and this is where Paul get it from in his letter in 2 Thessalonians. You can see it in Isaiah. That he's going to give you over to what it is that you want to do. That was when you look at, okay, I'm a hardened Pharaoh's heart. Pharaoh didn't want to let you go anyway. He didn't want to let you go anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and give you over to what it is that you wanted to do anyway. Case in point, when you look at King Ahab, Ahab wanted to go up and fight anyway. He wanted to go up and fight anyway. So when the king of Judah come through and he like, man, you ain't got no other prophets over here? Yeah, Micaiah, but I don't like him. He don't never speak well of me. I don't want him to do this. And then you get the image in heaven of all the Malachim and the spirits up there. And one of them say, who gonna go and be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets? And one of them say, I'll go do it. Yeah, I'll do it. You know why? Because that's what Ahab wanted anyway. You know what I'm saying? This is how he executed. See, Ahab still made the choice. And you who will go ahead and let you go ahead and have that then. That's what you want? That's a bet. And it'd be actually you destroying you. You know what I'm talking about? Because that's what you wanted to do. And that's the part of the accountability that nobody wants to look at. These are the choices that you're making. He said, I set before you life and good. I set before you blessing and cursing. I set before you life and death. Choose life, but we're not Bakarin life. You're not Bakarin Kai. You Bakarin Moof. You want to die. See, we don't even realize that that's what you've seen in the garden. He set before them life and death and told them to choose life, and they chose death. And you still doing it now. Still doing it now. And nobody don't want to hear that. Because if you hear that, and that's why people say, why didn't Adam protect her? Really not understanding that's really your underlying thought of why God don't protect me from me. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what you're really saying. Because Adam is representative of God in this instance. And Eve is representative of Yasharal. So some people, why God ain't stopped? He never told you he would. He never told you he would. They say, well, why he let little kids get molested? He never told you he would stick out a hand from heaven and stop it. He's never insinuated that, never said it. Why he let these people get killed? Instead of looking at why these niggas killing. It's his fault. So you don't understand that that's the underlying thought process you're going to have. Why he didn't do this, why he didn't do that. Why is he responsible for another person's behavior? No one is responsible for another person's behavior. The only person's behavior you're responsible for is yours. And if another person's behavior can cause you to sin against God or go against what you stand for, then you ain't really in control now, are you? That person got power over you. But how could another person's behavior dictate what you're going to do? Indeed. And that's what he said right there in Ecclesiastes 7. He said, Elohim made man upright. Man sought out many inventions. Come over here and look at it. That's what he said. I got you, Brother Marvin. Hold on. Come over to Ecclesiastes 7 and 29. Lo, I'll read that come before it. I'll start at verse 20. Ecclesiastes 7:20. There's not a just man upon the earth that do good and sin not. Now you know this, right? Now when Mashiach come, that got put to bed. Because that's what a lot of people like to say when they want to justify still sinning. Well, there is a just man who was on the earth and sinned not. Now walk like he walked. Walk in the same manner of faith that he exhibited. So let me tell you something, right? We talked about this last week. Who is he that overcome the world? But he that believed that Yahushua is the son of Elohim, this is our faith. Man, if you are genuinely motivated by the promises that your maker has promised you, sinning ain't even a thought process for you. That don't mean that you might not have a time period where you're weak in the flesh. Clearly, we talked about that last week. This man was extremely weak in the flesh. You flesh and blood, you a human being. To sit back and think that you want. Why do you think it says when it mentions about willful sin, that the caveat that it gave is that willful sin ain't in a moment of weakness? Remember, this man said, I know your frame, but you but dust. This man know full well when you being intentionally wicked and when you are in a moment of the weakness of your flesh and you just wasn't strong to overcome that in the moment. That man know the difference. Most of these niggas not weak, though. Most of these niggas just evil. See, I'm going to tell you something, man, that I've learned since I've been in the word and what I've seen in the word, man. Man, if you that weak, boy, Yahuwah make sure you don't get into them type of situations, which is why the Lord told you pray lest you enter into temptation. Because the Ruach is willing, but the flesh is weak. What did that mean? This man know there could be a certain situation where you get tested and he know you not strong enough to handle that. So he say, man, pray that you don't even get put in that situation. Because he already know what's going to happen. Boy, you're going to fold up. And you're not going to fold up because you necessarily went into it like I'm finna be wicked today. You just ain't that strong. Or it's not as strong as you want to make yourself think you are. Because everybody want to think they the strongest of the strong. But man, you a human being, man. And you allowed to be one. That man say he know your frame, but you but dust. That's why he say he can have pity on you. That's why most of these niggas who in the word or call themselves leaders in the word or whatever the hell they want to call themselves, they not of God because they don't have no mercy, care, or compassion for nobody. It's just, yeah, I'm going to send you niggas to hell and all this whole extra stuff. Get your goofy behind down somewhere, you jackass. Let me read y'all this verse I'm talking about. It's in Psalms 103, I want to say. Now, that ain't it. And I hate niggas like that too. Because they know what they be doing. Because everybody want to be tough. Yeah, it was Psalms 103. Psalms 103 and 13. Matter of fact, you can make it 8. Psalms 103 and 8. Yahuwah is merciful and gracious, slow to anger, and plenteous in mercy. He will not always chide, neither will he keep his anger forever. He have not dealt with us after our sins, nor rewarded us according to our iniquities. For as the heavens is high above the earth, so great is his mercy towards them that fear him. As far as the east is from the west, so far have he removed transgressions from us. Like a father pity his sons, so Yahuwah pity them that fear him. For he know our frames, and he remember that we are dust. See, this is part of the reason why the book tell your husbands dwell with your wives according to knowledge, showing honor to the weaker vessel. You supposed to already know her frame to know, like, hey, she gonna do X, Y, Z for you to be able to have pity on her. Not pity like how you looking at pity. You know what I'm talking about? But to have compassion. Because some people pity people, and you really pitying them out of condescension and arrogance. See, we ain't talking about that. Let me give you that word real quick. We ain't talking about it. Yeah, pitieth here is rakam, to love deeply, to have mercy, to be compassionate, to have tender affection, to show compassion. So that's what he's looking at. He's compassionate to his children. You know what I'm saying? Which is something that word-wise most people don't have. That's because most people want something to talk about. To be 100% honest with you. And to see the things that happen in somebody's life, and especially if you know they're dealing with some things, just for you to have something to talk about, you need to get some help. Because clearly you have some mental deformities in your brain that need to be corrected immediately. And your level of maturity surely is at the level of a third grader. You know what I'm talking about? Because if the pressures and pitfalls and pain and of life is entertainment and cannon fodder for you, you are a despicable human being. And I don't care who like what I said. You know what I'm saying? Eat doodle and die. There's a difference of knowing when somebody, hey man, they dealing with some things and when a nigga wicked as hell. And when you know this nigga wicked as hell, hey man, bro, just earning what he earning. You know what I'm saying? He said, do you think due to the short period of time Adam and Eve had in the garden in the flesh, they weren't developed enough to commit that sin as people in human form are usually deemed? That's a good question. For the short of it, from what I've been able to ascertain, does that tie into Ecclesiastes 9:11? My bad, Eric, man. I missed that one. I'm going to read it and I'll find out. What I've been able to ascertain, I think it was more so especially what we were talking about the other day about why Adam didn't get tempted. Man, Ecclesiastes 9 gone in that book. I'm going to say, I'm tripping. Like looking at the someone who says a baby in the world. And in that instance, I wouldn't look at say that they were a baby and they needed the word to grow thereby simply because they had no sin and they were blind. It was just more so that she let her desire overpower her. You know what I'm saying? And of course, he made the conscious decision to lay his life down for his wife. I don't think it was, in my personal opinion, in my professional opinion, I think that's all it was. Because it said it was a tree desire to make one wise. I think her desire just overtook her, which happens to people all the time. You know what I'm saying? Which is why I don't even know why people be going so hard about, oh, Eve was this, that, there, and the third. She had a desire for something, and her desire for it overpowered her at that particular time. Ain't nan one of us here can ever say that didn't happen to you. It ain't even got to be nothing about no sin. You might have been like, I ain't eating sugar for a week, and you seen a nice sugar cookie, a nice moist piece of chocolate cake, vanilla cake. Hell, maybe somebody had some Publix cake in the house. Maybe you came home and somebody said, I rolled past Krispy Kreme and the light was on. And they brought that box of donuts back to the house. And they were fresh. And in that moment, you let your desire for that donut trump the fact that I ain't eating no donuts this week. I think it was really just as simple as that, in my personal and humble opinion, to be honest with you. Because Kalisha said that was her this morning. My God, today. You know what I'm saying? That's why you've never really, he said, I'm heading to Krispy Kreme right now. No. Said diabolical. No. He said he on his way. I ain't mad at you, man. You know what I'm saying? People really do go hard on that whole situation. They really do. They really do, because people read into it a little bit more than they need to. You know what I'm saying? That's why Paul wrote, hey, she that liveth in pleasure is dead while she lived. So what is the lesson you're supposed to learn from Eve's situation? Don't let your desires overpower you. Let the word be stronger than your desire. That's it. Really simple thing to learn. He said, man, you make me want to see if the light on the Krispy Kreme on cassette. My God, today. He said, then it wasn't like she desired something that was evil, or it was just, it was just something that he told them not to do because he understood the consequence that what was going to happen to them. You know what I'm saying? Say he called out my 1-2 expeditiously. That boy stupid. That's all. That's just how I see it. If any of y'all have a different perspective, you most definitely can share it. I ain't got no problem with it. But that's just how I've always viewed it. That's why you've never heard me in here going like these wicked women, this wicked Eve, and all that's unnecessary. It's unnecessary. It's learning to have a control. Let the word be the determiner of your actions versus your desires being the determiner of your actions, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? It's really, really simple thing. It sounds more complex than what it is, but it's really a simple thing. You know what I'm saying? Now, execution, that's a whole other matter. You know what I'm talking about? Because you flesh and blood, you're a human being. So that's why he tell you that, the law is good if you strive for it with mastery and to have mastery over you. This is why temperance is one of the fruits of the Ruach. Like these are the things of self-control, having mastery over yourself. You know what I'm saying? Which is something that some people learn and some people don't. I think that most people don't learn it in the word because it's not instructed, it's not talked about. You know what I'm saying? It's not pointed about. It's not something that's established. Like you have to gain control over yourself. Just because you can say something don't mean you should. Just because you can do something don't mean you should. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, you represent Yahuwah. But see, we can say and do some things and want to justify that in our own mind that we right, when that's not something that you probably should have said or did. Because in her mind, she justified it in her mind that she was right. The same way that Absalom was justifying in his mind that he was right. The same way that Ahab was justifying in his mind that he was right. You have to make sure that your actions genuinely line up with this man's character, and it's not you convincing yourself that you're right because this is just how you want to behave. Because remember, there's a way that seems right unto a man, and the end thereof are the ways of death. Just because it's right to you don't mean it's right in heaven. And you can tell yourself whatever you want to tell yourself, and you can convince yourself whatever you want to convince yourself of. But that don't mean you're right, though. And that's something that we all have to consider. Ecclesiastes 9:11. I returned and saw under the sun that the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, neither yet bread to the wise, nor yet riches to men of understanding, nor yet favor to men of skill. But time. Now that's a little different. That's a whole nother. That boy said, "Watch the Super Bowl." My God, today, Ecclesiastes 7:20. Now that one is telling you that, man, no matter if you good, no matter if you evil, fast or slow, it's some things that happen. It's just time and chance. You know what I'm saying? That's all. Some things just happen in life, and that's just, hey. Yeah, that's it. You know what I'm saying? Nothing more to it than that. It ain't God did this or Satan did. I steady be seeing people, the God of the Bible killed way more people than Satan did. Whoever said that Satan was supposed to be a killer? Satan ain't a killer because he going around killing people. Satan is a killer because he's a murderer, because he's a liar, because he hates the brethren. That's what makes Satan a murderer. He's a hater of the brethren. He hates his brother without cause. Not that he's around here murking people. Nowhere in the book did it tell you that Satan was a homicidal murderer. That's just the thing. That's the image that man has created for him. Because the book don't say nothing about that. That man is a slanderer, an accuser, and an adversary. That is his job. And a tempter. That is his job. And he do his job well. People want him to be sitting on a throne somewhere tormenting niggas. Man, that man out here trying to see how many people going to hell with it. Let me see how many niggas I can tempt today. Let me see how many people I can accuse today. Let me see how many people I can oppose today. So you don't even, let me tell y'all something, man. I've told y'all this, some of y'all this, and we ain't said it in a while. A lot of the situations and circumstances that you come across with the people you dealing with, boy, that be Satan, man, dealing with them people. Let me not even say Satan dealing with them people. Them people are Satan to you. They are adversary to you to see if you're going to respond to them godly or not. And most of the time, most of us fail because you want to cuss people out. You want to do this. You want to do that. That's not how Yahuwah would respond to his adversary. Because he said you're supposed to overcome evil with good, not evil with evil. He said when they railed on him, he didn't rail back. He said when they threatened him, he didn't threaten back. See, when we get like that, that's your flesh. That's not the spirit. That's your flesh. You want to fight. He said you ain't got to fight. He'll do it for you. You ain't got to do all that. That's you. And that's something we all had to learn that there. Remember, he said, man, I kept my mouth closed because you did. Always remember, we talk about it all the time. He told you, man, Jacob said, man, my righteousness will speak for me. I ain't got to prove nothing to you. He ain't go back and forth fighting and fussing with Laban. He said, my righteousness will speak for me. I ain't got to prove nothing to you. See, there's a difference when you're in an adversarial situation and you just rebuking an evil bastard for some evil deeds. There's a difference. And you have to be wise enough to know the difference. You can't allow your flesh to dictate how you respond to people. And that's something that you learn over time to master that. And you know, every now and then you're going to go off on a nigga. But you can't go off on niggas all the time. Because then at that point, that wasn't a moment of weakness. That's just you. You know what I'm saying? And then you got to ask yourself, is this truly a proper representation of my God? Only you can answer that. Ecclesiastes 7:20. For there is not a just man upon the earth that do good and sin not. Also, take no heed unto all words that are spoken, lest you hear your servant curse you. For oftentimes also your own heart know that you likewise have cursed others. Look at what he tell you. The very thing I just said, man. And you know what that is? That Proverbs 30:10. And what does Proverbs 30:10 tell you? Accuse not the servant unto his master, lest he curse you and you be found guilty. And then what is the other one at? Where is that? It might be a little further down. When he tell you, hey, man, you know you done said some stupid stuff. If you ain't got nothing good to say, there it is, verse 32. If you have done foolishly and lifted up yourself, or if you thought evil, lay your hand upon your mouth. Sometimes it just better keep your mouth closed. Praise you, Mama Star. So I did too. I went off, and other times I turned the cheek. Listen, you're human. So you have to sit back and you have to look at, do you consistently cuss niggas out? Or is it a moment of, because guess what? There can come a time you can just be pushed to your limit and you just go off on the first nigga who disrespect you. Or the first nigga who say something that you don't like. Does that mean you evil? Or does that mean that you're human? But if you known for cussing niggas out, nah. You can't say you're a representative who are you known for cussing niggas out. You know what I'm saying? Because you got examples of men more righteous than all of us put together who didn't do that. So we have to learn from the example that they set. Does that mean that does that mean that might not happen? Yeah, it might happen. Yeah, it might happen. The difference is sitting back looking at like, hey, and if you had never sat back and examine that, then you have compassion on, man, I get it, man. People get on your nerves. You want to tell them about this. I get it. I understand. I guarantee you, Yahushua probably want to cuss them niggas out all the time. But it can't be about us, though. You know how many niggas I be wanting to cuss out? And some niggas catch it because they need to be rebuked because they wicked as hell. You know what I'm talking about? Just blaspheme and disrespectfully rude all the time. But then you have to pay attention to the words that you use. Because we have to make sure that we don't bring no dishonor to this man's name. And then try to justify that I was right in doing it. You know what I'm saying? No, we can't do that because it's bigger than you and me. You're not carrying your name, you carrying his name. So you don't want to make sure that any of his enemies have anything that they can say about him because of what we've done. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we have to keep in our mind. Not just with our words. Because he tell you, man, out the same mouth come blessing and cursing. He said, let that not be so. Say salt water and bitter. You know what I'm saying? Fresh water. We have to pay attention to that. Because if you can govern your tongue, you can govern your whole body. You should not be loose and reckless with your mouth. You know what I'm saying? And just say whatever comes to mind and it don't matter. We can't do that. There has to come a maturity in the word where you be like, nah, man, God will vindicate me. But literally said, hey, man, I didn't say nothing because you didn't. Now, which one of y'all, I put it to you this way. I know people get on your nerves. I know people say some stuff. But how many of you were hanged on a tree unjustly? People calling you a blasphemer, a hypocrite, all manner of things, slapping you up, mocking you, disrespecting you, and he ain't saying nothing. So if this man can control his tongue and didn't rail and threaten nobody, what excuse do we have? Because ain't nobody killing you. Ain't none of that happening to none of us. So we have to pay attention to that. Man, we ain't got no excuse to be doing that. And that man went through way worse and he ain't do that. Let me show you what I'm talking about. 1 Peter 1 and 2. Now, I'm not saying that you ain't going to have your moments that you cuss a nigga out, because you will. But if it's 7 days in a week and you done cussed out 17 people in 3 days, baby, that's a problem. That's a problem. That is a problem. But I ain't saying you ain't going to go off on a nigga, because you're going to go off on a nigga sometime, man. Hey, man, people's hell out here, man. But you also have to be wise enough to know when somebody's provoking you intentionally to elicit that response. And you shouldn't allow somebody to have power to make you behave in a certain type of way because they said something you didn't like. You know what I mean? You know how many people gonna say something to you don't like? Why you letting the words of another person have that much power over you, man? So what, they said something you ain't like? Niggas make their mouth fry fish, let them talk. Who gives a damn? So I've really been trying to understand the cussing doctrine. It's not really any verses on it, man, because it's really just put it to you like this here, right? Some people like to use what are called profane words. Let's look at what profane words is, or profanity by definition. Let's do that. Because the language that we use now is definitely not language that they may have had at that particular time in history. So when you look at profanity, it is blasphemous or obscene speech. That is what profanity is, and by Oxford English. So look at that profanity from a pure English definition standpoint. It's telling you what Leviticus 24 telling you not to do, which is not to blaspheme the name of Yahuwah. So using certain language that would be called profanity in English clearly would not be considered to be blasphemous things, but then it would be considered to be obscene. So in a broader sense, it's referred to expletives, swearing or oaths or cursing or cussing, or forward alert words or foul language. Or profanity is often used to offend or insult. Now, we know most people are they're not using profanity to insult. It's become such a standard word uses of speech in this particular society that some people just talk like that. You know what I'm talking about? But I ain't gonna lie, if you calling somebody a Mitch, you trying to be disrespectful. But of course, some people have taken it and turned it into a word of endearment. Now, if you as a woman like to be called a female dog, that's between you and your friends. I remember being in prison and hearing dude calling other dude that. I'd be like, yo, young blood, what is you doing? Oh man, we just play. I'm like, bro, in all my days, I ain't never called no other man no female dog. Boy, I know them fighting words, but I ain't never thought to call no man no nothing like that. Man, that's disrespectful. But then, of course, some people use it as a term of sentence, and it could be a noun. He said, yeah, because I be using good swear to get a point across. Yeah, I mean, he said, from what I've seen, cussing in the Greek and Hebrew is different. It is different. It is different. It is definitely different than, because it's literally cursing, which literally what we just seen in the Oxford English definition of profanity is. But when you talk about, the 4-letter word for excrement, the 4-letter word for fornication, you're a mother fornicator and things of that nature. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And then, of course, if you call yourself a representative of God, you have to look at how Paul put it. All things are lawful, but is it expedient? Is it expedient for you to communicate to people in this fashion? More than likely not. You know what I'm saying? Now, yeah, you could be. See, one thing you cannot be is rigid. You can't be like, well, I can talk to these group of people over here and they ain't got a problem with it. Okay, that's fine. But you can't talk to these people over here like that. So are you more concerned with speaking how you want to speak? Or are you more concerned with communicating your message that individuals can receive it? Because anybody who's coached anyone at any time, no, you cannot coach everybody the same. You can't talk to everybody the same. That's why he said, I became all things to all people. You can't do that and be effective. You know what I'm saying? You can do it, but you're probably going to get fired because you'll be a poor coach. You're going to lose. You're going to be like Shane Waldron, the offensive coordinator for the Chicago Bears. You're going to get a pink slip. You're going to get fired. You're going to get fired like the coordinator for the Raiders. Because to be successful at something, you have to be a good communicator of what it is, and everybody does not receive communication the same. And if you just feel like I'm going to talk to everybody the same, that is the sign that you should not be coaching, teaching, or leading anything whatsoever. Because you don't have the soft skills, the people skills, and the interpersonal ability to communicate to all human beings because you want them to hear how you talk. Not like Florida State being 1-9. I ain't got an apocrypha in here. I have to Google that. Say, yeah, we usually know what we're doing when we say certain things and how we say it. You do. And again, I've told y'all this already. It say the son say he do what he see the father do. And I've told y'all this before. You can say whatever words you want to say. But I'll tell you this here. If your son repeat him, you better not chastise him for it. Because the minute you chastise him for it, you know you ought not to be talking like that and you a hypocrite. You know what I'm saying? Straight up and down. So if you want to use whatever language you want to use, that's your business. But you better make sure everything that you do that your son, you would want your son to do it. And if you wouldn't want your son to do or speak in that fashion, then why are you? Because the Father in heaven had no problems displaying any of his verbiage or his conduct to his son. Son, you can follow me all the way around the board, baby. It's all great. And that's it. And that's all I got to say about that. He said, the man that is accustomed to opprobrious words will never be reformed all the days of his life. Oh, I know the army had you cussing bad, baby. That's the army. Someone said we can't get into heaven cussing. I don't know about all that, because you ain't got to worry about getting into heaven, because heaven coming to you, you ain't going to it. So you can tell them that one. You ain't got to worry about going to. Let's get opprobrious real quick. Like, I ain't used that word or seen that word in a long time. And that is expressing scorn or criticism in your language. Scorn or criticism. That is expressing severe criticism and blame. So to be opprobrious is to have severe criticism or blame. Now, if I can't find, and then of course, biblically in the Greek, it is to revile, shameful or disgraceful or outrageous. Let's look at Psalms 10 and 2, because that's what they said that would be representative of in the text. So let me see. Say the wicked in his pride do persecute the poor. Let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined. The wicked boast of his heart's desire, and bless the covetous whom Yahuwah hates. That boast is halal, and that is to be boastful, to make a boast, to be to make a fool of, to act madly, to act like a madman. Synonyms of opprobrious are I can't pronounce this right now. Dishonorable, contemptuous, insulting, shameful, despicable. It comes from the Latin verb, which means to reproach. So even then, that's still not even talking about profanity. That's dealing with reviling somebody. Mickey said, that's where you learned that. Oh, yeah, if you join the army, I know full well you cuss like, oh, they literally say you curse like a sailor. That's literally the terminology. So I remember talking with a pastor about a former pastor, and he said after meetings, the deacon board would make the pastor so mad, he would call them everything under the sun in the office. My God, today. 1 Peter 1 and 21. Don't get me wrong. I don't understand. People get you angry. No, for sure, Tommy. No, man, ain't nothing wrong with it. But you know what we coming up to repeatedly is not to dishonor people with your words, not to be a scorner, not to be a mocker, not to do the things like you seen the people do to Mashiach when he was on the stage, not to purposely dishonor people with your speech. For even hereunto were called, because Mashiach also suffered for us, leaving us an example that you should follow his steps, who did no sin, neither was guile found in his mouth, who when he was reviled not again. And when he suffered, he threatened not, but committed himself to him that judged righteously. And that's what we have to learn how to do, which is commit ourselves to him who judges righteously. So when we look at reviling here in the Greek, and that was 1 Peter 2 and 21. I think I said 1 and 21. And if I did, my apologies. That was 1 Peter 2 and 21. When you look at reviled, you have antelodahero, which is to rail in reply, to retort a railing, to reveal in turn. Well, that's the reviled not. And reviled is Lord Dahero, to reproach, to heap abuse upon, to vilify. So we aren't to vilify people in our speech. That's just not how we're supposed to do that. You know what I'm talking about? Now, bruh posted mentioned that with the James. I'll read the beginning of James chapter 3, verse 1. Oh, it's been a while since I did it, man. It's at least well over a decade. Dang, I forgot to call bruh back. Just something Ecclesiastes. I'm gonna call him when I get finished. The Epistle of James, chapter 3. Yeah, about this around the same time. My brethren, be not many masters, knowing that we shall have received the greater condemnation. For in many things we offend all. If any man offend not in word, the same a perfect man, also able also to bridle the whole body. I'm gonna drop down to verse 5. Even so, the tongue is a little member, it boasts great things. Behold, a great matter, a little fire kindleth, and the tongue of fire, a world of iniquity. So the tongue among our members, that it defile the whole body, and set on fire the course of nature, and is set on fire of hell. Verse 8. But the tongue can no man tame. It's unruly evil, full of dead poison. Therewith we bless Elohim, even Abba. Therefore curse we men, which are made after the similitude of Elohim. Out of the same mouth proceed blessing and cursing, my brethren. These things ought not so to be. Do a fountain send forth the same place, sweet and bitter? Can the fig tree, my brethren, bear olive berries, either a vine, fig? So can no fountain both yield salt water and fresh. Let's look at curse in this particular passage. Then I still need to read about ISIS. I ain't even get to what I want to get to. I ain't gonna share it quite yet. Well, we ain't gonna get to it tonight. There's no doubt about that. So let me not even play that game. This Greek word for curse here, and of course, it say this. We can look up it, but that is katara omhe. That is the curse, the doom, to imprecate evil upon, to doom, to curse. So what does that mean? You should not be speaking evil on another person. You should not be speaking evil with your words for that to happen to another person. That's not your place. That's not your job. You're dead wrong. You know what I'm saying? You're dead wrong. Because you can't bless God and then doom others. Some people, you say people going to hell. No, that behavior taken into hell. They pronouncing evil on themselves with their conduct. Ain't nobody walking around here looking at no sissy like that. Say, I'm in the chat. You good, Baji. You know what I'm talking about? Let's come back over here to Ecclesiastes 7. I need to finish that part. And that's what I meant earlier. And it's not necessarily with people's language usage about how things can be an idol in your heart, because we can end up being an idol in our own heart by trying to justify ourselves in whatever it is that we might have a proclivity to do. Like I can remember when I first got the word, people be like, damn is a curse word. When you literally looking at when you damning something, you cursing it. Like there are certain things that are literally, let me show you an example of what I mean. Deuteronomy chapter 6. Hold Ecclesiastes, because I've been wanting to hit Deuteronomy 6 all night. It was just an aspect of when I had the right passage to slide that in there. Here's a Deuteronomy 6, so here's it said. Yes, Deuteronomy said. 7:25. Deuteronomy 7:25. The graven images of their God shall you burn with fire. You shall not desire the silver or gold on them, nor take unto you, lest you be snared therein, for it is abomination unto you who are your Elohim. Neither shall you bring in an abomination into your house, lest you be a cursed thing like it. You shall utterly detest it. You shall utterly abhor it, for it is a cursed thing. See, anything that pertains to an idol god, you bring it in your house, you cursed, in your house cursed for even bringing it in there. But what is it to be a cursed thing? Remember, because that's where what his name is. Dang, his name escaping me. That's what Achan got caught up with, bringing their cursed thing in his house. And what was their cursed thing at that time? Garments and money that they weren't supposed to touch. What is a cursed thing? That is Kerem. And that is something that's devoted to, dedicated, banned, net, a thing perforated, but in this instance, having been utterly destroyed, appointed to utter destruction. See, that's what you're really doing when you cursing something. You're literally saying that you're appointed to be destroyed. You understand? That's literally what you're doing. Now, when you look at profanity in English, that means to literally be blasphemous. So what it is, well, what is vulgar? Because Boot mentioned that earlier a second ago. Then I'll read about ISIS. Not older. Vulgar, by definition, is lacking sophistication or good taste. You're unrefined. Making explicit and offensive reference to sex or bodily functions. You're coarse or rude. Rude and likely to upset or anger people, especially by referring to sex in the body in an unpleasant way. Or offensive in language, lewdly or profanely indecent. You know what I'm saying? So then you have to look at, are you just using indecent? At the end of the day, we know how to talk and how not to talk. Some things that some people be looking for. Well, what does it say explicitly that you can't do that? See, you a wicked nigga. So you got some people have a problem. I feel like nigga's a curse word. I bet you do. I bet you do. But you don't think sinner one, because sinner is really a curse word, because you literally are appointed under destruction. You know what I'm talking about? You ain't got no problem with that, though. You'll wear that as a banner. Because y'all already know, we say nigga, we talking about a nigga behavior. Y'all know niggas. Most of the people you've been around in your life weren't niggas. They were black folks, African Americans, Negroes, Negroids, colored folk. You might call some of them Israelites, natives, whatever you call them. But then you got niggas. And all of us know niggas. And guess what? Don't nobody like niggas except other niggas. You know what I'm saying? Because you like to participate in the nigga behavior and nigga mindset that they possess because you love it and enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? Straight up and down. Because I was just about to say, I do not like niggas. You know what I'm saying? And y'all know, you might know the joke that the bit that Chris Rock told, but you know, niggas will steal your stuff and then help you look for it. And say, I heard you got robbed and you the one broke in my house. But more importantly, niggas promote niggerish behavior. You know what I'm saying? They promote ungodly and unseemly conduct. That's what niggas do. Niggas want you to stay at a particular level. Niggas will ridicule you for... See, I'm going to tell you something. Most people, for sure, most people who in the word are niggas. I mean, I don't believe they niggas. They niggas with a Bible in their hand. They not saints, though. They not Kased. They not Kadashim. They not sons and daughters of Elohim. They just niggas with a Bible in their hand. Because their mindset is a nigga. Their behavior is a nigga. The way they interact with other people, use a nigga. Because niggas don't got no care, concern, or compassion for nobody. They have no understanding, no mercy, no grace. They quick to wrath. Niggas are accusatory, ready to condemn. Niggas like to play the victim. Niggas are selfish. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's what niggas do. Civilized folk don't act like that. See, I dealt with that all my childhood. Shoot. Everybody done dealt with it to a certain degree. Everybody got at least one nigga relative. And depending on where you lived at, you had probably quite a few nigga friends before you realize, oh, he got nigga behavior. Now, the problem come in is when you become a grown adult and you still like nigga behavior. And you want to be surrounded by nigga behavior. You know how much nigga behavior going on Clubhouse? And these niggas say they men of God. You was a nigga. These dudes will handle the word and throw the most profane language they can at another person because they don't agree with them. That's nigga behavior. Yeah, that's nigga behavior. I'm talking about negativity, negacity, all type of things. Just look here. Y'all remember the Don't Be a Menace movie? Walk niggas. That's all of them. Every time these boys get online, that's all you see here. Niggas. Because they ain't finna be no godliness get imputed. Because godly men don't act like this. I don't care how bad your doctrine is. Look how you behave, sir. Oh, you say you endured it in the military too? I bet you did. And nigga know no color. It's Caucasian niggas, it's Asian niggas, it's Latino niggas, it's niggas. You know, that's a literal, and I know that word in the Apocrypha, negardly. Some people seen that and lost their mind. It's nigga in here. And a negardly person is an ungenerous person. Stingy. Synonyms of negardly are close, miserly, parsimonious, penurious, and stingy. Unwilling or showing unwillingness to share with others. Implies giving or spending the very smallest amount possible. That means you ain't a chill forgiver. My God, today. But I know why people like that. It's 2024 and niggas be scamming. You know what I'm saying? I ain't saying everybody's scamming, but people are very defensive because let's just go and be honest with it. Most people are poor all across America. Clearly, you've seen that because that's how these people voted. That these niggas mad because their groceries high, their gas high, they rent, what they say, the rent in New York City is too damn high. It's just people is, man. You got all these African niggas scamming, these Cash App niggas scamming. You know what I'm saying? But I always was told this here, man, that you never give something that you can't stand to lose. You know what I'm saying? So if you can't stand to lose it, then hey, I ain't got it. You know what I'm saying? Like straight up now. Because we were told you don't lend nobody nothing. You just give it to them, they pay you back, cool. But if you can't stand to lose it, don't give it. Because you know what happens when you can't stand to lose it? You mad and you chasing this nigga down for your money. You upset. Because you know you ain't have it to give, so you should have did it. You should just say, no, I don't have it right now. And then if they catch your attitude, you could tell them like what Trick Daddy said. I done told you this line plenty of times. He said, what, if I ain't got it, I ain't your dog no more? He said, well, if that's the case, well, nigga, I ain't got it then. Because you should already know if your homeboy could give it to you, he would give it to you. If he can't give it to you, it's because he ain't got it. He don't owe you an explanation, rhyme, or reason. Now, I was always like that before the work. I already know, man, that's my nigga. If he got it, he would. If he can't, then he can't. He don't owe me nothing but love. I had that understanding before I was in the work. I love this man, so I already know if he had it, he would have did that. This man don't owe me anything. And of course, my mama hammered that in my head as a child, that don't nobody owe you nothing. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't never had that thought process. But yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? It's real out here. Niggas be out here scamming. You know them African niggas always scamming. Can you donate to our orphanage? Nigga, no. No, I'm not donating to nothing. I don't even know you. You know what I'm saying? You done sent me a follow on Instagram, and now you talking about send me some pictures of some little boys with flies flying around their head. Oh man, shoot, the niggas better eat them. If you think I'm finna fall for that, boy, you smoking crack. I'm not falling for that. Man, all them African niggas send you a friend request on Facebook talking about, can you send them some money? I can't send you nothing. Especially when they lead them with a WhatsApp. Oh, hell no. You know what I'm talking about? Man, if you don't get out of here, cuz. Say, I done did that, and there was a GoFundMe for it. My God, today. You see, I heard Niger was nigga in the Bible. Dude, I just seen somebody say that today. If it wasn't today, it was yesterday. Hold on, let me show you. This is where they get that from. They get that from Acts 13:1. When they say, in Simeon that was called Niger. That's where they get that from. And Niger is Niger, which means black. Surname of the prophet Simeon. And of course, some will tell you that it comes from Negus in Ethiopia. People be making up a lot of stuff. Is it true? Probably not. You know what I'm saying? But if you make it feel better about yourself, so be it. Come on to Ecclesiastes 7. And then I can read about ISIS and we can go home. African told me someone put a hex on me and they'll get it off of me for $350. For sure, brother Dave. Say, send me $350, I get it. Man, let me tell you something. Somebody sent me an email. I got several of them. I don't even respond to them. You know what I'm saying? With a picture of our old house saying, I've been monitoring your internet behavior. I've seen them videos you've been looking at. Now, if you just send me $2,000, I won't put you on blast on the internet. I said, if I didn't want the risk of getting caught up with them being able to get some type of information by replying to it, I'd be like, well, shoot, nigga, go ahead and put it out there, man. Let's see what you got. See what you got. Because you got to come better than that. That was your attempt to get $2,000. Oh, you looking at porn? Nigga, if I was looking at porn, I wouldn't give a damn. You don't care what you put out there. And I'd be like, yeah, I looked at it. That's why I can't see out my right eye now. But man, people be trying that type of stuff, man. You say they'll say somebody's praying against you and they're the ones false prophesying. You got, Lord, I'm for real though, man. They sent them emails for like a week straight. Many people try anything to get some money out you. Same way, I don't need to see no news story when they say if you get a text message and they say you got a package here, such and such, click this. I already know goddamn well UPS don't do that. I already know FedEx don't do that. I definitely know the post office don't do that. So I'm just automatically deleting that text message anyway. I ain't stupid enough to tap on that. Especially if you know you ain't ordered nothing. Why does UPS got a package for me? I ain't ordered nothing. But they do that stuff. They get in your phone and, hey, man, get in your Apple Pay, get this, that, and the third. You be walking around here broke. Because these people be out here scamming, boy. Ecclesiastes 7:23. All this I approve by wisdom. I said I will be wise, but it far from me. That which is far off, exceeding deep, who can find it out? I applied my heart to know and to search, to seek out wisdom and the reason, and to know wickedness of folly, even foolishness and madness. I find more bitter than death the woman whose heart snares and nets, her hands bands. Whoso please Elohim shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken by her. Behold, this I have found, saith the preacher, one by one to find out the account, which yet my soul seek, but I find not. One man among 1,000 have I found, but a woman among all those have I not found. Lo, this only have I found, that Elohim have made man upright, but they have sought out many inventions. See, man seek out a lot of different things. And of course, inventions is your plots, plans, and devices. In this instance, that word is kishabon, and that is device or invention. That's why he said he despised those who devise wicked imaginations. You know what I'm saying? So man has sought out what he wanted to do. And then he just get, like I said, you can look in Proverbs 1, you can look in Isaiah 66, you can look at 2 Thessalonians where he say, what is this? 2 Thessalonians 2. I ain't even finished Exodus 9. I need to go finish that, don't we? Won't get to that other God. Right here in 2 Thessalonians chapter 9, whose coming is after the working of Hashatan with all power, signs, and lying wonders, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness, and them that perish because they receive not love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause Elohim shall send them a strong delusion, that they should believe a lie, and they all might be damned who believe not the truth, but have pleasure in unrighteousness. We'll take you back to Ezekiel 14. Since you want to go to a false prophet, he going to deceive that false prophet, so that false prophet can deceive you because you took your funky behind around there to holler at him, and he'll kill both of you because you both wanted lies, so he gave you what you wanted. That's one thing I can say. You who adjust when it comes to that, he just give you what you want. Why you think all these people walk around here doggone sweet as hood Kool-Aid, man? You wanted men, so he gave you men. That's what you wanted. Oh, you a girl who wanted to be a boy? I'll let you have a mind that you a girl who want to be a boy. If that's what you want so bad. And then you notice that some people, they realize this ain't right, and they regret what they done did, because now they realize I ain't really want that. You know what I'm saying? Because you got grown people letting children decide. I seen a lady say, I let my son came to me and decided that he wanted to be a girl. How can he decide he wanted to be a girl at 6? He has a penis, man. That's a boy. Give him 7, 8 more years, he gonna be able to produce seminal fluid. That boy ain't got no ovaries, man. And that's why you've seen that instance is as theatric as it was with the quote unquote transgenderism infiltrating Israel. It's like, that's not an infiltration. What makes you think that people who in the word are not privy to depraved conduct in the process? A group of grown men got deceived by a lady boy. Or boy lady or whatever. I ain't trying to be funny either. Because I dealt with a 30-year-old man who was depressed because he spent 2 years taking female hormones. He was 5150. Oh, so he was in the crazy ward, so I understand. Yeah, I'm not ridiculing the young lady who wanted to be a man. That young lady wanted to be a man because she was a lesbian. And she was upset that her father, who raised her in the word, would not accept the fact that she wanted to bump vaginas. But she wanted to scissor, unfortunately. So I think in her mind, she decided, you know what, let me become a boy and maybe my daddy will love me then. I don't know how she came to that conclusion. Yeah, her wife in the word. And how her wife didn't know that this woman got the same equipment as you is beyond me. Man, you know what's beyond me, and I'm not trying to be funny, is all these grown men who were surrounding this young woman and didn't know that this was a woman. And I'm not trying to be funny. How did y'all not know that this was a woman? Because as soon as I seen her, I'm like, that's a chick. She has breasts. She has ample bosom. She's not, it's Songs of Solomon, my sister have no breasts. This woman can clearly nurse a child at any given time. With no problem. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand what's going on. And I'm not saying this to ridicule this young woman, because that clearly that young woman has a lot of stuff going on and she needs professional assistance. What I'm mentioning this was, they said she's infiltrated Israel. Ain't nobody infiltrated nothing. You got pastors, elders, chief priests, or whatever they want to call themselves, sleeping with everybody. Did he infiltrate? Lord have mercy. Exodus 9 and 8. Let me go home. I'm already here, so that means I got to go to bed. Yahuwah said unto Moses and unto Aaron, take you handfuls of ashes of furnace, and let Moses sprinkle it towards the heaven in the sight of Pharaoh, and it shall become small dust in the land of Mizraim. It shall be a boil breaking with blains upon man and upon beast throughout all the land of Mizraim. And they took the ashes of the furnace and stood before Pharaoh, and Moses sprinkled it towards heaven, and it became a boil breaking forth, blains upon man and beast. And the magicians could not stand before Moses because of the boils, for the boils was upon the magicians and all the Egyptians. And Yahuwah hardened the heart of Pharaoh, and he hearkened not unto them, as Yahuwah had spoken unto Moses. Now, what is these boils on their butt, on their arms, on their back? You know, that's got to be tough to have boils on you now. I went too far. Let me get you this Hebrew word for boil. Shakin, an inflamed spot, an inflammation, an eruption, a boil. It could be a burn, an inflammation, or an ulcer, a boil, or a botch. Well, that's tough if he gave him ulcers, boy. You hear me? That's real tough. What is a blame? That is ahabua. That is a blister or a boil. An inflammatory pustule as an eruption. That means that man had them with boiled that were bursting full of pus. Well, that man was giving them hemorrhoids all across their body and then letting them burst. And of course, you know, he letting them burst because that's a sign of uncleanliness. Because you know, any leaking of bodily fluids whatsoever is a sign of uncleanliness. You know what I'm saying? And you had to be set apart for a specific reason. Let's talk about swole head Isis, if we could. Now, Isis is a major goddess in the ancient Egypt religion who was worshipped spread throughout the Greco-Roman world. Isis was first mentioned in the Old Kingdom, 2686 to 2181 BCE, was one of the main characters of the Osiris myth, in which she resurrects her slain brother husband, the divine king Osiris, and produces and protects his heir, Horus. She was believed to help the dead enter the afterlife as she helped Osiris, and she was considered the divine mother of Pharaoh, who was likened to Horus. Her maternal aid was invoked in healing spells to benefit ordinary people. Originally, she played a limited role in royal rituals and temple rites, and although she was more prominent in funerary practices and magical texts, she was usually portrayed in art as a human woman wearing a throne-like hieroglyph on her head. During the New Kingdom, 1550 to 1070 BCE, as she took on the traits that originally belonged to Hathor, the preeminent goddess of the earlier times, Isis was portrayed as wearing Hathor's headdress, a sun disk between the horns of a cow. I'll give you Hathor. She was a goddess of ancient Egypt religion. She's the sky deity, the mother or consort of the sky god Horus and the sun god Ra, both of whom were connected with kingship, and thus she was the symbolic mother of the earthly representatives of the pharaohs. She was one of the several goddesses who acted as the eye of Ra, Ra's feminine counterpart. In this form, she had a vengeful aspect that protected him from his enemies. Her beneficent side represented music, dance, joy, love, sexuality, and maternal care. A whore! And she acted as the consort of several male deities and the mother of their sons. The two aspects of the goddess exemplify the Egyptian conception of femininity. Hathor crossed the boundaries between worlds, helping deceased souls in the transition of the afterlife. Women in ancient Egypt had special rights other women did not have in other comparable societies. They could own property and were at court legally equal to men. However, ancient Egypt was a patriarchal society dominated by men. Only a few women are known to have important positions in administration. And though there were female rulers, even female pharaohs, women at the royal court gained their positions by relationship to male kings. Because they just mentioned the female. We can talk about that another time. Hathor was often depicted as a cow, symbolizing her maternal and celestial aspect, although her most common form was a woman wearing a headdress of cow horns and a sun disk. She was also represented as a lioness, a cobra, or a sycamore tree. Cattle goddesses similar to Hathor were portrayed in Egyptian art in the 4th millennium BC, but she may have not appeared until the Old Kingdom. With the patronage of the Old Kingdom rulers, she became as one of Egypt's most important deities. More temples were dedicated to her than that of any other goddess. Her most prominent temple was Dendra in Upper Egypt. She was also worshipped in the temples of her male consorts. The Egyptians connected her with foreign lands such as Nubia and Canaan, and their valuable goods such as incense and semi-precious stones. Some of the peoples in those lands adopted her worship. In Egypt, she was one of the deities commonly invoked in private prayers and votive offerings, particularly by women desiring children. During the New Kingdom, goddesses such as Mut and Isis encroached on Hathor's position in royal ideology, but she remained one of the most widely worshipped deities. At the end of the New Kingdom, Hathor was increasingly overshadowed by Isis, but she continued to be venerated until the extinction of the ancient Egyptian religion in the early centuries AD. Images of a cattle appear frequently in the artwork of pre-dynastic Egypt, as do images of women with upraised, curved arms, reminiscent of the sharp bovine horns. Both types of imagery may represent goddesses connected with cattle. Cows are venerated in many cultures, including ancient Egypt, as symbols of motherhood and nourishment. Because they care for their calves and provide humans with milk, the Gerzai palette, a stone palette from the Naquata II period of prehistory, 3500 to 3200 BC, shows the silhouette of a cow's head with inward curving horns surrounded by stars. The palette suggests that the cow was also linked with the sky, as were several goddesses from latter times who were represented in this form: Hathor, Mehet-Reret, and Nut. We running out of time. I'll say this for another day. It's getting late. I'll say this. We'll come back and talk about this bald-headed hoe at another time. Hallelujah for Yahushua's word, because this is 9:27. I appreciate y'all. Bless y'all in the house of Elohim in the name of Yahushua. But this is probably, and I have to look into it more in depthly as it came on mind. This is probably why they use a rabbit and show these rabbits with all types of nipples and whatnot, even though they lay eggs. Because it's probably rabbits for Easter are probably easier to use than a cow. You know, who wants to go on? You can't go on a cow egg hunt. You know what I'm talking about? So, yes, sir. So that's more than likely because of the fertility and the nursing. Because I think I can recall seeing something about how they link cows with women, but it's been so long since I looked at that type of stuff until recently. So my memory could be failing me when it comes to that. But again, I bless all y'all at the house of Elohim in the name of Yahushua, and y'all we'll be back on Shabbat. But yeah, keep that in mind what we were talking about earlier, man. You know, just pay attention to yourself, man. Don't let your emotions and your desires get the best of you. It's gonna happen from time to time. You're a human being. Let me share with y'all that word for just so y'all can know that. Because I really want y'all to understand that, because sometimes y'all probably be too hard on yourself about certain things. And of course, a lot of people want to say, well, if you got the spirit, if you serve God, this, that, there, and the third. P10K, man. P Joseph, man. You know, you're a human being. Yeah, you can't. See, when you are unreasonably hard on yourself. Now, of course, we know the standard is perfection. That's what you're seeking at. You're seeking tamaim. You're seeking to have integrity. But integrity does not mean that you need to, and I understand, Emma, I understand. It doesn't mean that you have to. See, when you get into your mind that you have to be picture perfect every minute and moment of the day, it's not going to allow you the space to be a human being. You know what I'm saying? Like I told y'all, shoot, amen, brother Marcus. Stay safe out here too. Love you too, bro. Like, when he tell you to watch and pray, he's literally telling you, your ruach, your inward man, that spirit that's in you has a desire to serve God, but that flesh is weak. So he's letting you know what time it is. He's telling you, observe and pray, lest you get put in a situation, peace you die, man, where you get tempted, and now you're going to get tested, and you may not be strong enough to pass that test. Again, that's why we read that earlier. He can have deep compassion on you because he know your frame. He know you but dust. He already is looking at you, understand. Like I say, he knows when it's weakness and when somebody's just evil. See, most people are evil, but the majority that are left over, they just weak. You get, because again, it's a pattern. It's a pattern of behavior. Like he said, if you would be blind, you would have no sin. But he said, but since you say you see, your sin remain. I mean, you know what you're doing. See, the difference of doing stuff and you know what you're doing, and then you just allow your flesh to take control in a particular situation, and then you kicking yourself, oh, why did I let this happen? Because you don't allow, like it used to be some young women around some years back, and they'd be like, all right, so you saying people can't have emotions? I never told you that. What I told you is that you're supposed to have emotions, but you're supposed to not allow your emotions to dictate your decision making. But you have to be cognizant and mature enough to know what you're feeling and why you're feeling it, and then not allow yourself to respond based on how you feel. But guess what? Every now and again, you may respond by how you feel. And it doesn't mean that you're terrible. It doesn't mean that you're wicked. It just means that you're dust and ashes and subject to like passions as everybody else. That's what that means. Now, there's a difference if you have a pattern of responding according to your emotions. You're an emotionally unstable individual, which means you're clearly spiritually unstable and excessively carnal. You know what I'm talking about? But when you have moments, you had a moment because you're human. So this is why he is able to have compassion on you, and that you should be able to have compassion on one another by recognizing that and not being one who is ready, willing, and able to accuse, if that makes sense. I'm in chapter 11, it's chapter 10. Because, of course, y'all know we had conversations with these dudes and they was going all crazy about sinning willfully and all this other type of stuff because dudes we want to do what they want to do. But that Greek word is hek osios, voluntarily, willingly, of one accord. But this is the definition: to sin willfully, as opposed. So this means sinning willfully is separate from sins committed inconsiderately and from ignorance or from weakness. See, there are sacrifices for things that are made in weakness, but not you know what you're doing. Now, y'all know, like we said, y'all know that the standard is we don't believe in just running around here sinning. But most of y'all know, man, I ain't the one to look at nobody and be like, oh, this, that. Because most of the time, y'all just got caught up in weakness. Okay, this is where, tighten up on your backstroke. But we know the ones who like, nah, nigga, you be lying, cuz. That's really what you own. But you don't want nobody to think that's what you own. That's not weakness. You're duplicitous. That's different. You know what I'm saying? Because to go out of your way to willfully deceive, to cover up conduct, that's not weakness. That's just what type of time you on, blood. You got some other stuff going on. You gonna go to hell, you don't tighten up. You know what I'm saying? People want to hear that. But you just can't allow your flesh to dictate how you live your life. Your flesh might dictate how you respond to. See, there's certain things that where like, I'm trying to think of certain things, right? How many like when somebody dies, how many stages of grief they say it is? Like 5. And one of them is anger. You know what I'm saying? You might go off on a nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember what that was, man. I already don't be caring for when Agape be coming and be talking crazy. But right after my mama died, I told him, bro, don't talk to me, bro. Because you coming at me right now and I'm going to go off on you. And I know why I'm going to go off on you, because I am not in the mood or the mindset to entertain your folly at this present time. So I would like if you, I told several people that, bro, don't talk to me. My mind is not set to be able to entertain your folly right now. So I'm either going to have to remove myself from your presence or I'm going to remove you. Because if not, I know that I'm about to go off on you. You know what I'm saying? But this is me knowing like, hey, I'm cognitively aware. So I already know this here. Sometimes you could be feeling stuff and you're not cognitively aware of what it is. So you may not necessarily be able to be able to control that. You know what I'm saying? And I know because I did this when I was younger, man. I used to tell Muffin like, hey, I've been hustling all night. I ain't tell her the hustling part, but she already knew what I was doing. I had a general idea. I didn't think she was stupid. You know what I'm saying? At this time, this is she like 10. You know what I'm saying? And I had to take her to school. And I'd be like, hey, you know, if I be sure to act like this here, man, don't pay me no mind. I'm just tired. And then there'd be times I would do that, and she'd be like, oh, you ain't nothing. It's okay. You just tired. Because you have to know yourself and be able to communicate. Hey, man, if I respond to you like this, that, there, and the third, this is probably why. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't want nobody to think, I hate you. You know what I'm saying? No, you probably don't. You know, you're going, and you have to know that when people take some type of loss, it could be financial. It could be somebody passing away. You would have to know that their emotions might be all over the place. You know what I'm saying? You would have to know that. Give them a little grace and compassion to understand, hey, don't hold that to them. You know what I'm talking about? And things would be better. Most people don't do that though. Everybody gonna have their moments. You know what I'm saying? You're human. You know, you have to give yourself space to understand that you are flesh and blood. You know what I'm saying? You have to give yourself that kind of space. If you don't give yourself that kind of space, then what's gonna end up happening is you're gonna be so hard on yourself for being subject to like passions that you just go out here and do all manner of wickedness because you'll convince yourself that you ain't nothing but a wicked, evil bastard. When really you just all of us are subject to the same things. It's just how you respond to them and how you control yourself. You know what I'm saying? You have to take it day by day to keep your body under subjection and to have mastery over it and not kick yourself in the butt and in the forehead because you had a moment of weakness. You know, you allowed it. Nowhere in this book did he not say that you were allowed that because there's a difference. And a lot of times when y'all be having moment of weaknesses, it don't even be no sin. You be beating yourself up about some stuff you ain't even seeing. Because a lot of these people, man, they sinning willfully. You know what I'm saying? Most of y'all feel I shouldn't have did that. Okay, you shouldn't have did it. So what can you learn what not to do to come back better next time? Okay, but what if you did fall in a moment of weakness and it was a sin? Well, okay, what can I do to not put myself in that position when I know that I'm that weak? Because you can be weak in the flesh. We talked about that last week. That's why he sent that Malachim to strengthen the Lord. So if the Lord himself was weak in the flesh and the Father sent his brethren to give him strength, then you shouldn't be down on yourself if you find yourself in that same position. What you have to do is, the difference is there's two things that you can do. Maybe three. You can pray and fast, which is 1 and 2. You know what I'm saying? Or 1 if you decided to put them together, and call somebody who's stronger than you. You know what I'm saying? That's why he say those that are strong ought to support the weak. So call somebody who's stronger than you. I told you this before. Isolation is the worst thing that you can do if you are not a spiritually, mentally, and emotionally strong individual to begin with. Some people are mentally, spiritually, and emotionally strong that they can just go commune with Yahuwah on their own and to overcome whatever it is. Most people not that strong though. In general, not in general, in majority. Most people do not have that level of spiritual strength and maturity and commune with the Father in heaven through Mashiach to do that. So the best thing to do is call somebody who's stronger than you. Because I would guarantee you, if you're calling somebody who is spiritually stronger than you, they would have mercy, love, care, and compassion for you like Yahuwah would anyway. They wouldn't be like most of these douchebags you come across who looking for a reason to condemn, ridicule, and mock. Now that's on you to be able to determine who it is you're talking to. Is you talking to somebody who's gonna have care and compassion for you, or you gonna be talking to somebody who's gonna want to have something to talk about and point the finger? Don't call the nigga who gonna point the finger. Don't call the nigga who gonna accuse. Don't call the nigga who gonna want to tell everybody else about whatever moment of weakness that you make. That's not of God. So don't fool with them. But those that you know who gonna have care for you, try to strengthen you, to restore you. Hell, maybe even walk and carry that burden with you. Take it even a step further, be willing to pray and fast with you. Yeah, you call them. You know what I'm saying? Those who have words of encouragement, you call them. Those who can still rebuke the conduct but not condemn you in the correction, you call them. Yeah, that's who you call. You don't call the jackasses. That's why people get frustrated, because y'all go on the jackasses who ain't got the compassion of God in them and wondering, oh, God ain't with this stuff ain't real, because you fooling with fake niggas. How you gonna expect a real God to be in a fake nigga? The real Elohim can't dwell in no fake flawed individual. That's not possible. Because he hate fake niggas just like real niggas hate fake niggas. And I ain't talking about real street. I'm talking about real, authentic, genuine, article individuals. People who are who they are. Nothing clandestine. Nothing phony. Nothing of the sort. Hold on one second. Yeah, bro, that dog on tire flat, bro. No, I'm about done though, but that tire flat, bro. All right, well, shoot. Well, I do it. I don't know what's wrong with it. I don't even know how I got it, to be honest with you. But I'll set it outside, man, and I'll text you the address. You come get it. I'm right off here, all Chafin. Yeah, I got you though. Yes, sir. Yeah, we get that out of the garage because I don't want it. I don't need it. I don't even know how the hell I got it. I know how I got it. Fooling with Jimmy. You know what I'm talking about? Because Jimmy, we want to keep everything. Oh, for sure, Eric, man. But yeah, man, that's all, man. Just got to know who you fooling with, man. Y'all be all right. We'll all be all right. You know what I mean? Just come down to that, man. But I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Bless y'all the house of Elohim in the name of Yahushua. Y'all willing till tomorrow. I mean, till the Shabbat. That ain't tomorrow. Shalom, man. Love you too, bro. That definitely ain't tomorrow. That ain't tomorrow.